Hello everybody and welcome to Calls. This is the 2020-2021 PGA Tour Season Review Show. This is going to be a fun show, especially for you all, I think, as we look back and recollect on some of the amazing, and that means translated amazingly awful, suggestions and selections that I gave to you all throughout the PGA Tour season. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. The Calls show will be Tuesday evenings and only once a week until the Century Tournament of Champions, the PGA Tour resumes in early January. So make sure you mark your calendars or set your reminders that it'll be about 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday evenings once a week for the quote off season of the PGA Tour. The content will still come, and if you are a subscriber, the bonus content will still be there. I'll be giving you all some analysis and such. We'll be prepping for the Century Tournament of Champions and the 2022 calendar year as it pertains to the PGA Tour. Doing a lot of comparison course statistics. Tomorrow, in fact, I'll be giving you pretty much the full rundown of how successful and unsuccessful I was at various sportsbook bets, DFS plays, and such like that. So if you want to get some of that bonus content, or all of that bonus content, I should say, make sure you reach out to me at the email in the description and notify me. That way I can add you to the distribution list, so you're not going to want to miss out on all of that great bonus material. Again, with all chat is open tonight. This is going to be a very, very fun show. It's going to be relaxed. I want to have fun. I want you all to join in. Feel free to comment. Jump on the dog pile. I'm jumping on my own dog pile. But this is why I love what I do. Interacting with you all, looking back. Hopefully, we'll find some good things that I suggested for you all. Look back and have a good laugh at some of the things that I recommended and so on. So again, join in chat. I would love to hear from you all. I want to hear your favorite moments of the past year or past, I guess, 6 months or so. That's what makes it fun. As a kind of a note, I didn't start producing videos until the Memorial Tournament. So I believe that is in late May, maybe early June. So it's really only about the final, maybe half, a little less, of the 2020 and 2021 season that I'll be going through all the videos that I posted, at least. So nothing, at this time last year for the season. But with no further delay, let's look back and have some fun as we review the PGA Tour season review of 2020 and 2021. So I'm actually not going to pivot over to Microsoft Excel or web page just yet. I do have my notes here for the. I'm going to give you the top five, and comment below if you get the reference. But 5 good and bad of the past season. Let me make sure chat's up here. Again, I'm just wanting to have fun tonight. So number 5 is a little bit number 5 bad, I should say, is a little bit of a stretch in the sense that it wasn't a suggestion or a selection. It's more of the the quality of videos that I was producing in the beginning, and the lack thereof of the quality. As I was researching, going back, trying to figure out what I was most proud of, and some of my biggest misses, there were certainly a few that came to mind immediately. But I went ahead and went back, looked through most of the videos, and boy, the first few videos I have are pretty cringeworthy. I've got a link in the description to one show in particular where, well, you're not going to want to miss the intro, or maybe you should miss the intro, depending on your take on it. But summary being that I give this excited intro. I'm new to providing content on YouTube. I'm enthusiastic, and all you all see is, as the audience, is a distorted view of Fantasy National. So it's pretty bad. So that's going to be number 5 in the bad for me, and that's really, honestly, it's making fun of my own self. I'm hoping the quality has increased for you all at least a little bit. I feel better as a presenter, but that's one where you can click the link and have a good laugh at my expense, knowing that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. At least a lot less know what I'm doing then. Still don't know what the hell I'm doing now, but at least I'm looking at the camera, admitting to you that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Keeping on the making fun of me train, number 4 is I was recommending Emiliano Griot, and let me make sure I have the tournament right here. Emiliano Griot at the Northern Trust, and I was using a lot of him mainly on the thought process that he was going to be very unique. I thought the course would play well for him. I vividly remember saying that as long as he didn't putt with his eyes closed and he could get he could chip the ball at least on the green, because he was really bad at that moment in time, chipping and putting, that I felt like he had a pretty decent chance. And, needless to say, he missed the cut. And so, therefore, all of my DFS lineups, considering I had a ton of Emiliano Griot that week, they just crashed and burned. So, maybe not the biggest miss in the world, but certainly one that I owned quite a bit, in the sense that I had a lot of Emiliano Griot that week. I talked him up. The iron play was good that week. The course should have suited him and all that stuff, and it just didn't turn out. It really didn't. It was bad. It was bad. But number 5 in the good for me, and this is where I am actually going to transition over, and I won't have clips or examples of all of these, but one that I'm actually pretty proud of, and I'm going to go ahead and transition over here. This is, that's the Excel version. This is from the Ryder Cup kind of captain's roster show that I made Thursday night before the Ryder Cup. I was having fun with it. Putting myself in the captain's shoes, saying, what lineups that I would put out there, so on and so forth. And this is my number 5, I guess, proud or good moment for you all during the course of the year. And I'll just hit play here real quick. But without further ado, let me present to you Captain Call's Foursomes lineup for Friday morning. And I'm going to start by saying that I nailed this 100% right. And I'm pretty both teams. Pretty damn cocky and arrogant about doing it. Garcia and Rahm, and Spieth and Thomas. So at this point, the lineups had come out. But honest to God's truth, I had not looked at the lineups. I was busy during the day prepping for the show. I had various other things to do. This is still when I had a traditional 9-to-5 job and so on. So I did not look at the lineups for Friday morning. And I, like I said throughout this show and explaining now, I had put myself in the captain's shoes. Captain Harrington for Team Europe, Captain Stricker for Team USA. And I went ahead through the whole process of foursomes, 4-ball, and just threw out the lineups that I thought I would put out there if I were the captain. And I'm more so taking credit just for that first line. 705, Sergio and Jon Rahm went out against Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. And my thought process was 100% correct in both categories. And I don't know if there was ever confirmation on why the captain sent those teams out first. But my logic behind Garcia and Rahm, basically, if I'm Captain Harrington, I've got the number one player in the world, Jon Rahm. I'm going to send him out first and dare America to beat him. And then I paired him with Sergio, the same nationality, games complemented each other pretty well. And then for Team USA, I was going to throw the best team I could out there. Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, set the tone. And I ended up setting that exact matchup 100% right. So I was pretty proud of that, to be fair. And then I also nailed Cantlay and Schauffele in the end of the Friday morning session. Those two, I can't take a whole lot of credit for. Everybody knew they were going to play together. I just put them fourth, thinking that America would want to have some momentum, thinking to themselves they're going to gain a point, gain some momentum heading into the afternoon wave. They did end up going fourth. And then you can see here, I had some of the right people. DJ did go out in the foursomes. Hatton and Rory and Poulter ended up playing together, which I didn't get correct at all, obviously, and so on. So, but mainly it was this first pair that I was most proud of in the thought process behind it. I think I hit a couple of other kind of random team sessions, maybe the third European Saturday afternoon or something to that effect. But I was my number 5 success. There we go. Number 5 success is picking the first match of the Ryder Cup to a tee. So I'm going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit in this video. Let me make sure I have the right timeline here. Let's see. It's right here. We're going to come back to this video. Here in a little while, and it's going to be pretty funny when we do. Number 4, I'm going to minimize this. I'll bring up my Excel here. It's not for the number 4 success. Let me transition over there. Sorry, there you get all the things coordinated here. Make sure chat's up. And again, guys, please jump in chat. This is just going to be a fun show. I want to hear from you all. What were some of your favorite moments from the year? What were some of your suggestions and selections that I gave you all that you all weren't too happy with me about? But anyway, number 4 success for me was Seamus Power at the Barbasol. And while I did not save the what's the word I'm looking for? The rankings that I had made in Fantasy National, Seamus Power was my number 1 player in that data model. It was no surprise. He was the co-favorite at 16-1 that week. Do remember the Barbasol was the same week as the Open Championship. So that was the alternate field event. And anytime you get a favorite that's at 16-1, I kind of bet it on merit. And if I remember right, there were 2 co-favorites. It was Seamus Power at 16-1 and Charles Howell III at 16-1. And the model liked Seamus Power more, went ahead and bet it as the co-favorite, basically out of principle. Ended up, hitting it after I believe a 6-hole playoff. So that's my number 4 success. Again, I don't want to take too much credit for it because he was the tournament favorite. I did bet it. But we're going to come back to this week quite a bit, or here in a little bit as well. And it's a good thing that I hit Seamus Power. That's what I'll say. But number 3 in the bad, number 3 for me, the poor or awful selection and suggestion. And let me bring up something here off to the side. That way I have it ready for you all. Was Xander Schauffele at the FedEx St. Jude, the WGC St. Jude. And I vividly remember saying that Xander was the pivot of the 10Ks in this, in this tournament. You can see here he was second in my data model. I mean, everything said to take Xander Schauffele. And, I'll freely admit that I'm a Xander Schauffele believer. I think he's going to win a tournament, a big tournament here eventually. He's just too talented. But I was suggesting to you all to really hammer Xander this week. And remember, this is a no, an invitational field, so a no cut event. And let's see where Mr. Schauffele ended up here. Let me switch back to the web page. Let's see where Mr. Schauffele finished. Well, we're through the top 5 here, top 10, top 15. Oh boy, this ain't looking good. Top 20, top 30. Oh, I've got to scroll all the way down to the bottom. There he is, tied for 46. And do remember, this is out of 66 people. Tied for 46th. So that pick in of itself was, yeah, it was pretty bad. I believe I have the quote that I had that I put in the video. I love everything about Xander this week. Second in my data model, the top pivot in this area of the price board. Yeah. Yep. That's the kind of analysis you get here. Oh man, I laugh to keep myself from crying. But so that was my number 3 of the poor selections and suggestions that I had for you all throughout the 2020-2021 season. Number 3 in the positive was Brian Steward. And again, sorry, I'm going to have to switch back and forth from web page to Microsoft Excel. But number 3 in the positive for me, the one that I'm kind of proud of, was Brian Steward at the Wyndham. You can see here his price. He was very cheap that week. It did not have a lot of headline coming into it. A lot of the headlines were people jostling for position in the FedEx Cup. There was a bevy of storylines, and Brian Stewart was coming in under the radar. I mean, completely under the radar. A 6K play, all that stuff, and he ended up being number 1 in my data model. So I was very high on Brian Stewart, and unlike Xander Schauffele in the previous example, Brian Stewart came through for me. I believe I can check it here. I think he top 15. We can check here. Wyndham. Brian Stewart. Yeah, tied for 15th, which in a sorry, let me highlight him here for you all. I'm not going to switch to Microsoft Excel, sorry, that's just way too much stuff, but you can see there he was tied for 15th. In a full field event, in a 6K play, if you get a guy that ties for 15th, I mean, just, top 20s or even top 25s, you're doing pretty well. And he had almost no ownership that week as well. So that was a suggestion or a call that I was pretty darn proud of. I had a couple of you all come in the next week with the Northern Trust and say, gave me a little bit of credit, and which I appreciate, but all the credit goes to Fantasy National for putting all those rankings and stuff together. But I'm glad that you all shared in that success, where I picked Brian Stewart really hammered him. Wanted you all to really give him a good look, and it turned out, it paid off. So that was number 3 in the good. Let's go to number 2 in the sad trombone category here, and and I've got it labeled as everything at the Open Championship. So let me come back to Microsoft Excel here, and let me bring up my Open Championship, the rankings for. You see here, Brian Harman was my number 1 player. I can tell you right now that didn't turn out. Patrick Reed. So a little bit of context here. I had a subscriber of mine who happens to be a friend of mine outside the show and whatnot. He contacted me and wanted some help with an office pool that him and his buddies get in every major championship. And he asked me to kind of run through a data model, see who I was kind of looking at or who might be undervalued. And I gave him 2 names. I gave him Patrick Reed, and I gave him Abraham Answer. And at one point during the week, they were number 1 and number 2 in my data model. So I was like, look, if you're going strictly by data model, take these 2. There are caveats just due to the format of your office pool and stuff like that. But those are my 2 rated players, number 1 and 2. And this was earlier in the week, when I was trying to give him some advice. Well, I was really high on Patrick Reed that week. Just a tough course, tough conditions. Patrick Reed generally plays best in the the majors, the hardest events, the best events. He missed the cut. So that was fantastic. And then Abraham Answer, I believe, made the cut. And then imploded on the weekend. I think he made the cut on the number and then imploded on the weekend. I think he might have finished last of all the people who made the cut. So the 2 suggestions that I gave to my friend turned out to be absolute utter shit. And that basically sums up that portion of the Open. But let me give you a kind of an insider's look at of how I track, how I do, bettings and such, because I like to keep track of statistics. I'm a data guy, math nerd, all that stuff. So this right here is my Open Championship card, and I can't remember if I was posting my cards yet or not, but if I wasn't, this is the proof. This is my file. So I had quite a few win bets. As you can tell, I had none of them. Patrick Reed, Finau, Answer, Kokrak, Noren, Sink, Woodland, Van Rooyen. I think the majority of these guys missed the cut. And then I hit, 3 top 20s out of, 12? So I hit 25% of my top 20s, which are supposed to be a conservative bet. You're supposed to hit majority of these. Now, I will take this about much a credit. Brandt Snedeker 9-1 at a 20-1 was pretty good, but even when I won this week at the Open, I lost because Webb Simpson top 20, but he tied for it. So the dead heat reduction made it an actual losing bet when I won. That was the culmination, or that was the best way to encapsulate my Open Championship week. I lost even when I won. Just everything about the Open, I got wrong. That's just the best way to put all this. I got it wrong. There you go. But there's also the proof of the Seamus Power win at 16-1 that week at the Barbasol. That's the alternate field event. But yeah, number 2 on the sad trombone was everything about the Open Championship, minus the Brandt Snedeker top 20. But I'm not even going to give myself much credit for that. That was just a very, very, very bad tournament. I can't say very bad weekend, since this win certainly helped prop up the rest of this. But the Open Championship part was pretty darn bad. So let's go now to the number 2 on the positive end. And again, let me switch back over to the web page because this is another clip for you all. This is at the Tour Championship. And with a field of 30 players, it's very, very difficult to differentiate yourself and differentiate your lineups from, the contests that people are going in. And this is the best. Let me just sum it up for you all like this. There's a kind of a lineup that I've been toying around with. I don't like the fact that Sungjae is so chalky. Rahm is the most chalky. Justin Thomas is fairly chalky, but you're gonna run into chalk somewhere. You just are. With only 30 golfers in this tournament, there's only so many combinations that you can make. So you're really, really trying to find your advantage in your 2v2, 3v3s. And I think that's where Billy Horschel is going to come in. That's why I'm so high on Billy Horschel. He's a 10.5%. I understand that it's a very, very, very risky play. You got to take a risk somewhere. I'll take it on Billy Horschel. I'm going to put my flag on Billy Horschel, and I'm going to sink come Sunday. I've destined my fate to sinking on the Billy Horschel ship. So the reason that turned out to be a really good selection, and this is with, remember the bonus strokes included. He had, I think, maybe -1, but I really don't think he had any bonus strokes. He might have started at even. And he comes in and overall top 10s. He tied for 9th with, again, he might have started at -1. I think he started at even. So he was one of the best players in a quote pure sense, or throughout the week, because Cantlay started at -10. So he shot -11 through the week. I believe Rahm was was it Rahm? I can't remember. I think it was Rahm who shot the best total score, not factoring in the opening strokes or the bonus strokes. But Billy Horschel made it a very, very profitable weekend for me in DFS, considering he was the 3rd lowest owned player, at least projected at that point via Fantasy National. I had a lot of Billy Horschel because it seemed like people weren't on to him. He's a very good Bermuda putter. He had played similar styles of golf. Well, he's from the South, where Eastlake's in Atlanta, Georgia. Being from the South, Florida Gator, college or collegiate player and such. He's used to playing in the South. So I had a lot of confidence in Billy Horschel that he was underpriced on DraftKings DFS and severely underowned considering the underpricing. I think he was the 2nd cheapest behind, just ahead, I should say, of Eric Van Rooyen. And using Billy Horschel allowed me to stick a lot of the bigger names like Justin Thomas, like Victor Hovland, like John Rahm, the lineup that you just saw. Sungjae kind of burned out, but Billy Horschel made it a very profitable weekend for me at the Tour Championship for DFS, and that's one I was really, really darn proud of because it was a limb. I went on a pretty big limb there, and it paid off. However, a bonus sad trombone from the tournament championship, or from the Tour Championship. I said, stay away from Kevin Gnaw. I said, I don't want anything to do with Kevin Gnaw this week. Well, that's kind of awkward since he's solo 3rd. So, good and bad from the Tour Championship. But all of Kevin Gnaw's was based on how he had played Eastlake before when he had made it. Him and Hideki had some terrible, terrible numbers. And Hideki actually played out the way I thought, not good. But Kevin Gnaw he had a great weekend. And I said, stay away from him. Completely stay away from him. Well, I was half right on the on the Tour Championship. I hope you use both Kevin Gnaw and Billy Horschel. That's how I'll put it. Sorry. Again, guys, jump in chat or comment below. I just want this to be a fun show. It's not going to last very long. We're just having some fun at my expense. But let's go to the number one sad trombone, the number one down for this past PGA Tour season, 2020-2021. And we're going to come back to the what I called the captain's roster show. This actually ended up being my predictions, and pardon me as I reach up here. I want to make sure that the sound is up for you all. It's going to start out with a bit of a good, and this is going to kind of piggyback on the roster part from earlier in the video of the number 5 good, where I was pretty proud of the selecting the rosters. But towards the end of this, you'll see. You'll just see. So let me bring this up. 12 and a half. Sorry, let me. 5 sessions. I think he gets 3.5 points. This is where I say the points. MVP. I think would be Rory if Europe wins. The Mollywood heater go 4-0, but it's Rory McIlroy. He's one of the best players in the world. Probably undisputed team captain. So if the Euros win, I've got Rory as the MVP. If the Americans win, I think it's going to be, it'll probably be Justin Thomas, although I don't want to discount Dustin Johnson, because Dustin Johnson plays the 4-ball format so well. You put him with a good partner for Foursomes. He's been a good singles player. I could see Dustin Johnson being the MVP if the Americans win. I really can. But more than likely it'll be Justin Thomas. I'm going to say Dustin Johnson so I don't go complete chalk. So, I'm going to take a little bit of credit there. As much as I thought it would have been Justin Thomas to be the MVP if the Americans win, I went with Dustin Johnson. I love that face there as I'm stuck on. I'm actually going to close that because that makes me kind of creeped out. I'm going to take a little bit of credit, like I said. DJ obviously goes 5-0, which I hope I didn't talk over it. I also mentioned how I didn't think anybody was going to go on a Mollywood heater, go 4-0 during the 4 sessions. That turned out to be wrong. And again, I'm going to make sure I turn this up so you all can hear it. This is my number 1 sad trombone. Prediction. 43rd Ryder Cup on American soil. Whistling Straits. I've got the Europeans winning 15.5 to 12.5. There you go. Anybody? Anybody else? Anybody else pick that? Please? Hello? 15.5 to 12.5 euros. Well, one record-setting performance later, the Americans win what was it? 21.5 to 6.5 or something, 19.5. I don't know. It was a record-breaking performance, and yours truly picked the Europeans to win 15.5 to 12.5. So, yeah, that was that was that. That was the number one sad trombone moment of the PGA Tour 2020-2021 season for yours truly. I'll own it. It's all in good fun, but it was atrociously wrong. It was wrong times infinity wrong. It was really bad. Oh man. Again, I laugh to keep myself from crying. But again, guys, I hope this was I hope looking at some of the the poor selections and stuff gave you all a good laugh. Had some fun at my expense. This is why I do this. Again, I just enjoy it. I have fun. I will finish this off with my number one positive thing that I'm most proud of, at least wager wise, during the 2020-2021 season, and that was hitting Cam Davis at the Rocket Mortgage at 150 to 1. That was a kind of almost a year setting bet for me. I was really high on it throughout the week. I had put that bet in on Monday. Felt good about it. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 100 to 1. Not 150. It was 100 to 1. But still, it was a year setting win for me. So that's the one that I'm most proud of. I called it from the beginning of the tournament. Once I started digging into the data, Cameron Davis at the Rocket Mortgage. So with that is the PGA Tour 2020-2021 season in review. The five, and again, comment below if you get the reference. 5 goods and 5 bads since I started late at the Memorial. So from the Memorial to the Tour Championship, I plan on doing this every year. So there are definitely a couple of solid choices already for next year's list, especially in the bad category. But honestly, guys, and I don't want to get sappy, but I'm going to. The number one positive for me has been able to do this and to share this with you all to make this my job now, my career, to build a community where we can all, get together, laugh, have some fun, share some information, and help each other win, because that's what it's all about. So I won't get too much more sappy than that, but I really can't stress enough to you all that I really appreciate the support, the audience, and everything. I have fun with it. I hope you all have fun along with me, and hope it shows throughout the shows and throughout the weeks and such that I truly enjoy what I do, and that's all because of you all. So thank you. And in that spirit, happy Thanksgiving to everybody this week. Go out, enjoy the time with family, good food, good company. And thanks again for what's been a fantastic start to this career of mine. So with that, that's going to wrap up the show. And until I see you next Tuesday, where we're going to start doing some course comparison type looks, and delve into that. So for Thanksgiving week and any bets that you have made during Thanksgiving week, may all your bets be profitable. Happy Thanksgiving.